Now, the next mimer, this is number 42 over here, in Malukot base, and this is the following year. So we finished the mimer of Tafshin Lamed, which was the Perik, the 20th chapter. The Rebbe explained every year a chapter. What happened the next year in Tafshin Lamed Aleph? The Rebbe started over again, and he explained the mimer, the first parak of the mimer again. It started over that that order, and this was printed. It says here it was printed in the 40 years from the Nisias. That brings down over here that they 41 years from the Rebbe's Nisias, and this was printed in Tafshin Nun Aleph, Tinose Taf Nun Shin Aleph. So okay, so this is another series in the Memorim on the explaining, where the Rebbe explains the Maimer Basi Legani, and here the Rebbe will explain the first chapter again. All right. Psiayta Dishmaya, Shabbos Kodesh, Umotsoy Shabbos Kodesh, Parshas Bishalach, Yud Aleph Shvat. So again, it was two Maimorim. One was on Shabbos, which was Yud Shvat, and on Motzi Shabbos, which Yud Aleph Shvat, and Tavshin Lamed Aleph. All right, we'll start over again. So, Basi Legani Achesi Kalo, I've come to the garden, or to my garden, Achesi Kalo, my sister, my bride. This is the way expression of love Hashem speaks about his Jewish people, as they are his sister, as they are his bride. And Hashem is saying that I've come to my garden. So maybe Kvet Kidushas Merichomu Admur Bal Hahilula Bahamaimer Diyom Hahistalkus V'yom Hahilula Shaloi. So my father-in-law, the Rebbe, the ones whose Hilula Yortzeit, in the Maimer that was for the day of his of passing and Hilula of his, so he brings down the Isa b'Medrash Rabbah b'Mekoimei, that in the Medrash Rabbah, in the place, meaning right over there in Shir Hashirim Rabbah, which the pasuk is from Shir Hashirim, that over there in the place in the Medrash Rabbah, on that pasuk, he says that Ligani means Liginuni. Liginuni means to my place of enjoyment, my garden, a garden of a Genuni. L'mokim shahoya ikri betchilo. And this is a place where I was mainly in the beginning. Hashem is saying, I came to the place where I was initially in the very beginning. So the Medrash explained what does it mean, because essentially Hashem was here already in the beginning, and He's coming back. The Iker Shechina b'tachtonim hayso. The main divine was in the lower worlds, was in this world. B'tachtonim hayso. That was the main divine, the main presence. Hello, but what happened? Why does Hashem have to come back? Why is He coming back? Because through the undesirable matters that took place, maschil bechet eitzadas, beginning with the chet of eitzadas, the stalka shchina milmato lemailo ad lerikia shabi. So the shechina left, and it went away from below to above. Was here mainly below, but then it left from the below, going up higher, ad lirikia shvi, up till it went up all the ways to the seventh rikia. There's seven rikia, and from being here, lamata, it went up all the ways to the seventh level. And then, tzadikim, And then there stood up the righteous. Maschil me Avraham Avinu. It started with Avraham, our father. V'hoyridu es hashechina milmayla lemata. And
Yes.
he brought down the Shekhinah from above to below, bringing down. So they started with the 7th to the 6th to the 5th to the 4th, ad Sheba Moshe, till Moshe came around. Moshe Shehu Hashivi, he is the 7th. And the 7th, Chol Hashvin Chavivin, all the 7 are dear. So Moshe Rabbeinu, being the 7th, being the one that is dear, he came around V'yiridu Lamata Ba'aretz, and he brought down the Shekhinah back to the ground. Shekhinah went up. Basi Legani Achesi Kalo, he's coming back through Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the 7th, who brings down the Shekhinah below. How did Moshe Rabbeinu bring down the Shekhinah? The Inyan Zeh was through the Mishkan. The Inyan Zeh, this idea, Hamshochas v'yiridas hashchina lamata ba'oretz, to draw down and to descend, to bring the Shekhinah down below into the earth. Nase be'iker al yidei hamishkon sha'oso Moshe. That was mainly accomplished through the Mishkan that Moshe did. So when we say that Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Shekhinah down, it means he brought it down through the Mishkan that he built. Moshe Rabbeinu made the Mishkan, Moshe Kosuv. Because the Pasuk says that the Shekhinah comes down through the Mishkan. It says, V'osu li migdosh v'shachanti b'soicham. They shall make for me a sanctuary so that I will dwell amongst them. So basically, the Shekhinah comes down here below through the Mikdash. So that's the Moshe Rabbeinu bringing down the Shekhinah through the building of the Mishkan. Then the pasuk continues with Zehu, the Maimer continues, Zehu tzadikim yirshu oretz v'yishkenu la'ad oleho. So this is a pasuk that speaks about generally that tzaddikim. Here we're talking about specifically about Moshe Rabbeinu, but he quotes the pasuk that tzaddikim yirshu oretz, that they are going to inherit the land, Elam Haba, because it teaches v'yishkenu la'ad oleho. They make the one who's la'ad, the one who is forever, which is Hashem oleho on the aretz, and this is what tzaddikim do. Tzaddikim bring down the Shekhinah. That's the reason why Yeshua is, because they're shoichet, they bring down la'ad into the world. They are mamshich legani, they bring down into the world. Shetzadikim heim mashkinim. Tzadikim make rest, or mamshichim, they draw down es hashchina, shenikra ad. They bring down the Shekhinah, which is called ad. That means yishkinu la'ad. They're making the ad, the Shekhinah, bringing it down to God. Shoichen ad morim v'kodesh. Why is Hashem called ad? Because Shoichen ad, one who rests forever, or exalted v'kodesh, is a reference to Hashem, who's ad. So they're Shoichen, the ad, the one who is rests forever, la'ad, shetiyah begilu l'mata, that it should be revealed below. So first, the Maimer brings down that Moshe Rabbeinu built the Mishkan, and that's the way he brought down the Shekhinah Lamata. And then he quotes the pasuk of Tzadikim Yirshu Oretz, that Bechlal Tzadikim bring down the Shekhinah should be Begilu Lamata. And the Rebbe makes a note now that the Rebbe in the Maimer changes the order from the way it appears in the Medrash. And the Medrash, first he brings the pasuk Tzadikim Yishkenu La'ad, and then he brings down the Mishkan. that the Mishkan brought down the Shekhinah, but the Rebbe brings down first that the Shekhinah came down through Moshe Rabbeinu, and then he brings down the Tzaddikim. The Rebbe explains that the Frierdiker Rebbe wants to emphasize that you shouldn't think that it's mainly done through Moshe Rabbeinu. Yes, but there's a continuous and even a greater level. In other words, he didn't finish yet when Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the Shekhinah, so he brought down the highest level. He wants to emphasize that later on, when the tzaddikim continue to bring down the Shekhinah in Aretz, they're bringing down even a higher level. Ulahoyer. That is, I want to point out. Shebe Medrash Shom, in the Medrash there, Mevair Tchila Pirush HaPosuk Tzaddikim Yirsha Aretz Goimer. First, he explains the Posuk Tzaddikim Yirsha Aretz, which that they bring down the Shekhinah. That's the Medrash first bringing down this Posuk. And then he says in the Medrash, that when was the resting of the Shekhinah in the land? When was the Hashroah? When did it come down? That took place on the day the Mishkan was raised. So first he talks about what tzaddikim bring down the Shekhinah, and then he talks about that in the Mishkan, that it took place on the day that the Mishkan was stood up. But in the Maimer, Mishane es Seder Ha'inyonim. He changes the order of things. Shehaposuk Tzadikim Yirsha Oretz Goimer. This verse, Tzadikim Yirsha Oretz, etc., Muva, that is brought down by Hamaimer, the Maimer Le'acharei Sha'omer, after he says, She'iker Ham Shocha Hoysa Alidei Asiyis HaMishkan. He says that the main Hamshacha was by making the Mishkan. Then he brings down the Tzadikim Yishkenu La'adoleo, that all the tzaddikim are mamshich. Why the Rebbe is explaining why the Frierdiker Rebbe and the Maimer changes the order from the way it appears in the Medrash. What's the significance? The Rebbe explains this precise, is Shloimar. Shebazem Ramis, that he's coming to hint over here, the Frierdiker Rebbe writing in this way, the fact that the tzaddikim draw down the shechin lamato, which is v'yishkenu lo'ad oleho. They bring down the lo'ad, the shoichen ad morin Hashem oleho. So what level is this? Hakavone bozehi. So what we mean over here is loy rak lehahamshocha shal yidei shiva hatzadikim shema Avraham ad Moshe. Not only to that hamshocha that was drawn down through the 7 tzadikim from Avraham till Moshe. This a Mishkan. Moshe by making the Mishkan. It is not exactly. It doesn't fit it in there because it's not the same. Elogam lehahamshocha. But we're also talking what we draw down after we've already drawn down the Shekhinah that took place through making the Mishkan. The 7 tzaddikim to Moshe Rabbeinu, the brother to make Mishkan. There is a further Hamshacha. Shegam le'achrei hamshacha shehoysa al yidei asiyas hamishkan. Also, after the Hamshacha that took place after the making of the Mishkan, even though that already was a very elevated Hamshacha, what they drew down is a very high level that came down of the Shekhinah, but yet, Mamshichim Tzadikim, but then the Tzadikim bring even higher, Mamshichim Tzadikim. The tzaddikim bring down, and generally speaking, ba'amich kulam tzaddikim. It doesn't mean a unique few. We are all called tzaddikim. All Yidden are tzaddikim. Ba'amich kulam tzaddikim. we bring down Hamshocha Nailis Odyesa. We bring down even a higher level. That's why he places this Hamshocha after the 7 tzaddikim to tell us that what Amich Kulam tzaddikim, that what Bermamshich is even higher, not part of the 7, but after the 7. After that which has been drawn down through the 7 tzaddikim. Especially through Moshe. That the Shechina through Moshe came down in the Oretz. So after that, even after what Moshe Rabbeinu is down, that through that there was power given to every one and one of the Jewish people to bring down even more. So the reason the Rebbe explains why he brings it down in this order to tell you that this is a higher level of Amshocha. It's not the same Amshocha like the 7 brought down the Shechina, but a higher level of Amshocha. And after Moshe Rabbeinu brought down La'aretz, we continue, and all Yidden avoided to bring down a higher Amshocha even more. Now, just like when they made the Mishkan, who was the one that mainly brought it down? It was Moshe Rabbeinu. But who participated in the building of the Mishkan? Moshe Rabbeinu didn't just build the Mishkan on his own. All the Yidden took part in building of the Mishkan. So the Rebbe says that while the Moshe Rabbeinu was the impetus, gave the koyach, but it was built by all Yidden. The Rebbe says now that the same thing is the Friedrich Rebbe. He is the one that is mamshich, but all the Rabbeim, but they give koyach to the people of the generation for them to be mamshich. It's not that they're mamshich alone. B'shloimar, we can say the kemoy sham shochas hashchina lemato shal yidei asiyas hamishkan. Just as the way we draw down the shechina below when they built the mishkan, hoy shal yidei kol Yisrael, was through all Yidden. Because Moshe Rabbeinu told us the Mishkan, but Moshe Rabbeinu was commanded to tell the Yidden to build the Mishkan, not Moshe Rabbeinu build their own Mishkan. Kamesha Kosuf, Pasuk says, Da'abed al bnei Yisrael, Goymer, speak to the sons of Israel, Goymer, v'asu li migdosh v'shachanti b'soicham. Make for me a sanctuary so I will dwell amongst them. So that's meant that the Yidden should make the Mishkan, not Moshe Rabbeinu on his own. Shatzivu lasis migdosh ulahamshich iker shchina. Who was commanded the command to make a mikdash and to draw down the main shechina lamato ulechol Yisrael? That was for all Yidden, not only Moshe. So what does it mean? The Medrash says that Moshe brought it down because he was the the main person that had the ability to draw down the shechina. So what does the Medrash say that Moshe was the one that brought it down? When really it's all the Yidden that bring it down. Because the main making of the Mishkan and that which was drawn down through the Mishkan, that was through Moshe. That's number one. Mainly it was done with Moshe. But not only that, and also Moshe gave the koyach to the rest of the Bnei Yisrael also. The Gam al Yod, and also through him, through Moshe, Nimshach hanesinas koyach li Yisrael. That extended, he gave that power to the Yidden Shal Yidei v'osu li migdosh, that when they make a sanctuary, that the Eibush will rest amongst them. Who gave the Yidden that power that came from Moshe Rabbeinu? That's why the Medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down. But in actuality, it's all Yidden that were commanded and built the Mishkan. Al derech zeh hu b'negei lamshachas hashchina achshov. Same thing is true the way the Shechina comes down now. That we're saying that Shahamshiyam Shochan Nailis Yoser. We said before that the Shechina now comes down, which is an even elevated Hamshocha. Yoser Gameha Hamshocha Shal Yidei Asiyas Hamishkan. Even more than what was drawn down by the building of the Mishkan. Now it's even greater. That's what the Rebbe explained before. That's why Tzadikim Yirsha Oretz comes after the Mishkan. Shehakoyach shebekol echad ve'echad miYisrael lahamshich hamshocha zu. Where do we each and every one get the power that every Jewish person has to bring down this? Hi al yidei hatzadikim Rosh Alpha Yisrael. That is through the tzadikim, the heads of the thousands of Yidden shebechol der, which in every generation, which is ispashtuso de Moshe shebechol der. That's the expansion of Moshe in every generation. Ad the kvod kedushas merichom admur bal ha'ilul nesidereno, till my father-in-law, the Rebbe, the leader of our generation, that how do the people in our generation have the koyach to bring down the Shechina Lamato, that through their making a Migdosh, they are bringing down the Shechina that is through the Rebbe. And the Rebbe is the one that gives them the koyach, and that's the way when we make a Migdosh, we bring down the Shechina. That's just like it was in the beginning. So that's the two things. It says it's attributed to Moshe Rabbeinu, but who does the Mishkan? All of the Yidden, because Moshe is the one that gives the Yidden the koyach to do so. Base. Hine la'achrei shemevayer b'hamaimer b'kitzer maimer hamedrash b'chlolusay. After the maimer, this is still in the first Perek. So first he briefly explains the saying of the medrash that we bring down the Shechina, the Lamato, that bring down. So then, in the first ois, mevayer beprotis yoser, ubeoimek yoser protei hoinyonim. He explains in more detail and more deeper the details of the matters. The Perek Harishin, the Hamaimer, in the first chapter of the Maimer, the Basilegani, HaPerek HaShayich L'shon Nazu, the Perek which is connected to that year, which was Tavshin Lamed Aleph, in which they started the cycle again, and they started with Perek Aleph, the main explanation. So Mevayer Ha'inyan, so there he explains what does it mean, the Iker Shechina B'tachtonim, that the main Shechina was B'tachtonim. What does it mean the main of the Shechina was below? And then later on in the Maimer, and in the chapters that follow later on, he explains Ha'avoida the Osuli Migdosh. He explains the service, the work of making that Migdosh, and that is the creating the structure of the Migdosh and what it means and the significance and how it's interpreted. And also the avodas that are in the Mikdash. And also the work, the service in the Mishkan, the Mikdash after it was built. That the service, that brings about Shchanti B'Soicham. The Hamshochas Iker Shchina B'Tachtoinon, to bring down the Iker Shchina B'Tachtoinon in the lower world. So the first Perek will explain what does it mean the Iker Shechina is B'Tachtoinim, and then we'll explain how we bring down the Shechina B'Tachtoinim through the Avodah in the Mikdash. So the first Perek he explains the Hatam al Zeh she'Iker Shechina B'Tachtoinim Hoyso. What is the reason why we're saying, to begin with, that the main divine was in the lower world? Why was it? Why was it mainly? Why was the main over here? Why was the main presence of the divine in this world? Kitachlis hakavona bebrias v'hishavus ha'ilumesu, because the goal of the intent, the purpose in creating and bringing world into being is shanisave hakodesh baruch hu liyas lo yizbarich tira betachton, is that Hashem, Kodesh Baruch Hu, blessed be He, desired that He should have for Him, blessed, a dwelling place in the low world. That was the goal. That's why He was here, mainly because ultimately this was the purpose in creating the world. All the worlds were created because He wants this world. Hashem wants the Tachtonim. What does it mean that He wants this world? What does it mean Hashem wants to have a dwelling place in this low world? The Eibishter wants that there should be a revelation of godliness over here. But loy alidei hamshocha milmaylo, not just by drawing down from above, elo alidei avodas ha'odam, but through work of man, that the person should work hard and make it into a dwelling place for Hashem. What kind of work do we do to work around and make this world into a dira for Hashem? It's his kafia and his hapcha. What is the avodah through which there is revelation of godliness of the world? Is the avodah, the iskafia, the ishapcha, is the service of subduing and turning things around. The struggles to reveal godliness into the world, not just to be open, but to work at it to bring it out. Kemaimer, as the saying in from the Zohar, that Kadis Kafia brings up a title called Torah, as Kadis Kafia Sitra Achra is Tali Kikore the Kuchabricha B'Chulolmen. That when the Sitra Achra is subdued, then the Yikor, the glory of Kuchabricha, goes in all worlds. So basically, the Avodah of Iskafia brings about the Yikor of Hashem in all worlds. That is the Avodah that brings about the revelation. Umevayer. So the Rebbe explains in the Maimer, what does it mean? The glory, the preciousness of Hashem in all worlds. What does it mean in all worlds? Umevayer, the Pirush B'Kola Almin. What does it mean in all worlds? U'oirshu B'Kola Almin B'Shama. That's the light of Hashem, which is equal in all worlds. You bring down the Kara, the Kuchabarichu, what you call the Kula Almin, the one that is in all worlds equal. That's the level. That's the light which is above having a connection to the world, which means it's not measured in the level of the world, but it's higher than the world. That's Kula Almin. And that is what brings down the be'oid ha'melube mislabish be'oilames, because there's basically two oid. There's seviv kol almin, mimale kol almin. The light that dresses up in the world, that's mimale kol almin. Yesh chiluk bein oilames elyonim la'oilames tachtonim. That there is a difference between the upper worlds and the lower worlds. The upper worlds are higher, they get more gilui. The lower worlds are lower, they get less gilui. K'maymer Azal, as our sages of blessed memory say, that not to Yemina Ubara Shamayim, that Hashem moved sort of his right hand, created the heavens, which means heavens come from the right. The right is more giving, more gilui. Not to Smailoi. He moved his left hand, Ubara Oretz, and created the world. Basically, it means that the Shemaim has more gilui. The Shemaim means the higher worlds, the heavens. The upper levels have more gilui. They come from Yamin. And the lower level, they come from Smoil. Shaham Shocha Bashamayim, the Amshocha, which is in the heavens, and that means the higher world are called Shamayim. Yamin, that's from the level of the right. Amshocha Ba'oretz, Shocha that comes in the land, that's from the left. That's the level of restricted. So that's the level of the oil that dresses up in the world. There's differences. But what is the level of all worlds? Is that level of oil which is equal, the makiv, the save of kol almim. It's everywhere the same. So that's a light which is higher than connecting to the world. And now we're saying, when you subdue the other side, the glory of Kuchabricha goes in all worlds. Through the service of Iskafim and Ishapcha, you bring down the light which is equal in all worlds, which is the level of Soivev, the level of higher than Shach's world. A light which is higher than Shach's to world. And that is how we make up the Dira B'Tachtonim by Iskafia, and Iskafia brings down this higher light, as we will continue.
Okay.
Okay, leave it over here. We mamshich tomorrow. Be'ezer Hashem.
Okay. See you next time. Bye-bye.